All right, Charlie, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and fire it up. Okay, so the national debt clock, what is it telling us? What does it mean to you? And how can you actually profit from it? All right, so let's get started. This is the Hey Ed YouTube channel. I am your host, moderator, and all-around nice guy, Edward Anderson. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't construe anything that I mention in any of my videos as financial advice. Always do your own research before you're doing anything with your money. Today, we're talking about the national debt clock and how to read it, what's it saying, what does it mean to you, and how you can profit from it. All right, so now the national debt clock is actually a pretty cool thing. It has a lot of information in it besides just the headline number of the national debt. So there are a few key things that I want to point out to you that's very significant and you should know about it. So let's take a look at the national debt clock and then we'll talk about it afterward. So here is the U.S. debt clock. You can check this out on your own just by going to usdebtclock.org and let's take a look at the important numbers. Now, in the top left here, of course, you got the really big number. This is the national debt, standing right now at $31.5 trillion. Yeah, unbelievable. Now, if you look at the bottom of this main box, they actually tell you over the course of history what the debt to GDP ratio has been. So in 1960, it's at 53%. In 1980, 34%, actually went down a little bit there over that period. And then in 2000, it was 59%, and now it is at 120%. So in the past 20 years here, the U.S. federal debt to GDP ratio has doubled. That is not good. And it tells you right here at the top of the window. So the debt right now stands at $94,000 per person. That's man, woman, and child. So your children are born with a $94,000 debt. So per taxpayer, it works out to $246,000. Every taxpayer is right now $246,000 in debt. Now, I bet that surprises a lot of you, huh? A lot of you saying, well, wait a minute, I don't have any debt. Well, you know, your share of the national debt is, if you're a taxpayer, $246,000 right now. Yeah, that sounds a little bit unfair. Darn right it's unfair. This should make you angry as hell. All right, let's take a look at a couple more items. Now, this is an important one. Okay, so the median income right now is $35,600 per year. Because that's the average, right? So the average working person earns $35,600 a year. Now, the median income in 2000 was $31,600. So what's that? That's an increase of what? $4,000 a year over the past 20 years. So just quick mental math here. Don't hold me to this, but I think it works out to what, 11 or 12%. So the average annual income in America has grown by about 12% over 20 years. So the average yearly income for American workers has grown by only 11 or 12% over 20 years. That's it, 12%. Now, let's take a look at the median home prices, however. The average price for a home in America is $493,000. Now, that number back in the year 2000 was $161,000. All right, so again, a quick hey ed math. Don't hold me to this. I didn't take time to get my calculator out. That's about a 300% increase in the price of an average house. 300%. So over the same period of time where the average yearly income has grown by 12%, the average price of a house is up by 300%. So there are a lot of interesting stats in the national debt clock, and you should play around with it sometime, and just for the fun of it. See, you know, if you're curious about the state of things. So again, you just go to nationaldebtclock.org, and you can see this for yourself. So what is this telling us? Well, it's telling us that it's getting more and more difficult for people to make a living. Okay, the average income has gone up barely nothing over the past 20 years, where at the same time, the price of everything else has gone through the roof. And that is most poignantly demonstrated in the price of a house, up 300% over the same time that your income has only gone up by 12%. All right, if you're a veteran to my channel, you know the things that I'm worried about right now. Inflation right now is running away. Now, whether our government is incompetent or whether this is an agenda that the government has, the net effect is the same to you. Life is not going to get easier as things come on. Now, we have the CBDC coming up here probably this summer. And the CBDC, if you don't know about them, start learning about them. Study, do a YouTube search. Watch some of my videos on the CBDC. That's a central bank digital currency, right? Also known as the Fed coin. So what do all these numbers mean to you? You got to get your house, pardon the pun, in order. You have to start figuring things out. There are 3 recommendations that I give on this channel, right? Number 1, you have to reduce your exposure to your bank. The money you have sitting in your bank is not safe. First of all, remember, any money that you have sitting in the bank is legally not considered your money, okay? You are considered an unsecured creditor. So when the next financial crisis comes and banks start to fail, they start to become insolvent, they have the legal right to steal your money. It's legal, okay? And when the next financial crisis comes, it's going to happen fast. The day that the first big bank announces that they're insolvent, you're not going to be able to get your money out. And because within a few hours, all the other banks are going to make the same announcement, okay? And I would be surprised if there's some kind of national emergency where they put a freeze on banks giving out money. Even right now, people are already feeling it. I promise you, if you go to your bank and try to withdraw just $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, you might be able to get it, but they're going to squawk about it. They're not going to make it easy for you. They're probably going to need a manager's permission, and you're probably going to have to come back the next day. Okay, these banks don't keep that much money in the bank, and those are the marching orders by the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is quietly making it more difficult for you to have cash. You already see it, right? There are a lot of businesses right now who don't accept cash. This is all a way of gearing you up for the Fed coin. Anyway, start getting your money out of the bank. Get as much out of the bank as possible. Now, what I do is I keep about 3 or 4 months worth of bill paying in the bank. That's it. Everything else I pull out of the bank. So number 1, reduce your exposure to the bank. Number 2, take some of that cash that you just pulled out of the bank, which is a depreciating asset, right? With inflation, you're losing buying power. You're losing money on your cash. So take some of the cash and put it into gold and silver. Okay, gold and silver has been around for 5,000 years, whereas fiat currencies, like the US dollar, they have a 100% failure rate. Okay, so get some of your cash into gold and silver. You're not buying anything when you put your money into gold and silver. Remember, all you're doing is transferring your assets from a bad asset class to a solid one, so that when the next financial crisis comes and the US dollar gets destroyed, gets reduced, you can always take your gold and silver, which have preserved your buying power, and go out and buy those dollars, buy those fiat currencies. You can buy a lot more of them because they're worth a lot less. And the third thing you need to do is establish streams of passive recurring income. That's what we do inside of the Hey Ed group. We have 3 programs that we focus on to generate passive recurring income. And I'm very picky about the programs that I share with my group. We have a wonderful group of people. If you'd like to join the Hey Ed WhatsApp team, shoot me an email and I'll send you a link to the Hey Ed WhatsApp group. We do regular Zoom calls to talk about this kind of thing. But whether you join my group or you do something else, you got to be proactive. You got to be doing something. All right. This is not the time to just get on with your life and not pay attention to this stuff. So you have to start doing things now, because when this next financial crisis comes, and it is going to come, I can't tell you the exact day, but it's coming. You don't want to be a victim of it. You want to be able to actually benefit from it. And the way you do that is by doing the 3 steps that I just told you. Number 1, reduce your exposure to your bank. Number 2, get some of that cash into gold and silver. Number 3, establish streams of passive recurring income. And I have programs that will help you do all 3 of those things if you want. So if you don't mind, could you give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed? And please leave a comment. I'd love to know your thoughts on what I just said. Edward Anderson, live from Minnesota, signing out.
Copy that.